Mwangaza is the way we say the word. It's Swahili, and it means enlighten. What got me interested in Mwangaza originally was sitting in church service one Sunday, and Shuni Hartwig and Jim Tellerico were talking about all of the services that they provide and what the support system is here in the United States through the ELCA and through St. John in particular. And it just spoke to me. Jim often says when he's in Africa, he feels like he's floating, and I seem to have just kind of floated to the front of the church after the service and introduced myself, and that's where it all started. When children are allowed to go on to secondary school, they are going to have to speak all of their classes in English. That is going to be their third language because they speak their tribal language, they speak the national language of Swahili, and then they also are learning English. The Tanzanians understand that English is the language of the world, so they are really wanting their children to learn English fluently. But they're not fluent when they get to high school. And when you have a 100-to-1 ratio and very few reference books, there's no libraries, public libraries in Tanzania. If a student has to take a Form 1 test at the end of the year and they have to pass it in order to continue with their secondary education, they have to be able to read the test and they have to know what the words mean. So we focus a lot on vocabulary. So we show them different kinds of matching games and different ways of doing group work for the students to truly be able to embrace and understand the vocabulary. Books are, a second thought for us. For them, they're precious. They're precious. And that is something I can't shake. I can't shake that. I talked to John, and we decided we needed to be able to do something to help. And I'm lucky enough that we have lots of teachers' textbooks at lab that people weren't using anymore. So I collected all of those. And then when we had our Oktoberfest, the funds that we raised for a number of years, before I even went to Mwangaza, went to sending those textbooks to fill their library. And knowing that the time was right and the finances were in place that I could actually travel to Tanzania and experience Mwangaza firsthand was the next step. Mwangaza is in Arusha, the city of Arusha. We have Serengeti National Park, we have Tarangire National Park. You can see rhinoceros, elephants, hyenas, zebra, giraffe, just a wealth of birds and other animals that you have never heard of before. I have to say, my heart rate was way up the first time I got on the plane and I was traveling that far all by myself. And, I was saying a lot of prayers, actually. But honestly, it was the first time in my life, other than knowing that I was always going to teach, that I really felt a pull, that I couldn't stay away. I just knew I had to go. I didn't know whether I was really going to be the right fit. But being encouraged by Jim Tellerico and our Global Mission Committee group here in the Northern Illinois Synod and Pastor Homer, I couldn't shake that feeling of not going. And when I went the first time, I knew I had to go back. Tanzania is an incredibly peaceful place. In East Africa, their population is 50% Muslim and the rest are Christian of various faiths. The Lutheran presence is very strong there. There's warring countries and all around Tanzania. They seem to be able to maintain their neutrality, and it's been said by politicians here in the United States that they are the Geneva of Africa, and they're very proud of that. for a family would be about $1 US a day. The school fees can run around $75 a quarter. And so you can imagine that that is a large chunk of money. The sacrifice is worth it to these families because they know that if their children do well, that the status of the entire family will be improved. The incomes coming in, the opportunities available to these students. So the Mwangaza Center serves as a hub for the secondary Lutheran schools in Tanzania. So if you can think of a wheel, and all of the schools branch out throughout the country of Tanzania, they service those secondary schools and help move education forward. Mwangaza is a step in my faith journey because I have never had the opportunity prior to Mwangaza to be able to see how important education truly is to changing someone's life. We take education for granted here in the United States. In Arusha, and because it was Lutherans, I guess, it just felt like I said, I was floating the entire time I was there. And I left with more than what I could have ever given them. What they can make out of what we would consider nothing is truly something amazing, and has to be God's work. You know, through our hands, it's God's work, and they believe that firmly in everything they do. The main purpose for the American teachers to go to Mwangaza for this summer seminar is to teach teachers the strategies in teaching English as a second language or a third language. They were not taught as teachers any methodology or how to teach. They're only given the information for their academics. And so since these students are struggling with vocabulary in English, that's our role, is to be mentors. The ultimate goal would be for us to train enough Tanzanians that we can step out and Tanzanians can completely train Tanzanians. We can want them to be able to do it for themselves. And we're just there as a support system.
Now, let us take our resource book, Mwangaza Center Instruction Resource Book. Page number 4.
I wasn't done. I wasn't done, so I went a second time. I'm still not done. I will have to go back. I don't know what I have to do. There's something there that is pulling me that I just don't feel I'm done just yet. I think it's God that's pulling me there. I can't give you any other answer than that. It's just that I feel this strong desire to return. And I have friends there now. Thank goodness for Facebook and Messenger, because I actually heard from today, this week, thanking me again for the books that I sent, with the teachers that came this year, because they mean so much to them. By our standards, these people have nothing, and they are happy. They thank God every day. They sing Sala at tea, at chai every morning. If they don't have financial goods for church service, they bring what they have, a quart of milk, a bunch of bananas, and those are auctioned off after the service to support the church. You see all of these things and you go, wow, they make so much out of so little, and we take for granted how much we have. And it's relationships that they value. It's not material things. When a Tanzanian gives you a hug, you know you've been hugged. That's all I can say. And they're always calling me Mama, Debbie. And Debbie is a very strange word for them. It actually means oil drum or something like that. And so they have a hard time calling a person Debbie. But Mama is the highest level of honor, I guess, that you're given. When you're called Mama Debbie, that means that they respect you. You're part of their family.